Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm Stephanie Fisher. I'm a licensed counselor here in the state of Michigan, and I am owner and operator of In Progress Counseling. Now, I can't say too much yet because things are very much in progress, but In Progress Counseling is going to go through some overhauls and some upgrades over the next couple months here. So I look forward to sharing with you some of those new pieces as they emerge. But one of the things I'm going to focus on in the video today, not that life is right now in progress, but that we have a lot of seasons that we come to where we are, in fact, people who are in progress. There's an analogy that I'll often use, but this is specific. I'll use it with my emerging adults. And when you think of what is emerging adulthood, it's this time where you move from like complete or pretty complete dependence into independence over the course of time. Sometimes it's 18 to 25, sometimes it's 18 to 29. You know, the literature goes in a couple different directions there. But there's an analogy that I use, and I honestly, it would be impossible for me to accurately remember where this emerged for me, but we're talking about really a book that I had started pre-clinical work. So 7-8 years ago, I was already conceptually working on this idea of us showing up into young adulthood with these maps which might not be completely drawn. And often they couldn't possibly be completely drawn. And so I'm going to give you, kind of as a foundational understanding, I'm going to give you the 8 wellness domains. If you go back like 250 videos, we covered this. But the 8 wellness domains, it's used in some of the addictions literature. It's used in some of the identity formation literature. You're talking about physical health, emotional health, intellectual health, spiritual health, recreational, environmental, vocational, financial, sometimes relational is put in there. But it's like, what if I come into young adulthood and I have like 8 or 9 maps that I'm trying to draw all at once, or at least over the length of the 7 to 10 years of emerging adulthood? Guys, it's a ton of work. Now, I also work with people who are going through a, kind of a collapse of part of their identity and then a rebuild. And we use these same kind of map languages about where are you at now? What are the gaps that have happened, or what are the gaps that are emerging? And what do we want to do to start creating a more well thought out, intentionally drawn, a map that clearly reflects who you are as you understand it now, and then we can continue to build and add things in. We come into seasons of our life with not a lot of infrastructure drawn. And there are many areas of life that we have to get creative with, and we have to build, and we have to engage in some decision making. And it's a ton of effort. Now, I love, love, love walking with young adults towards identity formation, which just means, hey, in each of these areas, where am I at? What do I want to do? Who am I becoming? How do I get there? It's this whole process of decision making and testing and figuring stuff out, trying stuff on. Nope, that doesn't fit, but I'm going to try this thing on. I see this one person doing it this way. It's that exploration piece that's so valuable. Through exploration, we draw maps. Through clear decision making, we draw maps. Through practice and rehearsal and trying, we start to draw maps. But the problem is we show up into the season with poorly drawn maps often. Doesn't mean they're non-existent, it just means they're certainly not yet complete. And there can be such an overwhelm of, I have to figure out finances, and I have to figure out physical health practices, and I have to figure out geographical, environmental things, and I have to figure out my emotional health. Good golly, my emotional health is all over the place. We draw the maps over time with sustained and intentional effort. That's the work I get to do. So when someone comes in and life is chaotic or disarrayed or not yet built, I don't see that as problematic. I say, well, of course, we all have to start somewhere. Are you ready to do some of that work now and start to create, fill in, and more clearly draw maps of things that you're choosing or things that you're choosing between? That's a normal, it's a normal space to enter into with uncertainty and trepidation, and it's something that we all have to do at some point. Each of those areas needs some type of careful cultivation, intentional cultivation. We need to work through, hey, who am I with physical health? Who am I, or what do I do for my environmental management? Who am I in my recreation and creativity? Who am I, or what do I want to do intellectually? Who am I, or how do I want to practice things spiritually? These are questions, these are incomplete things that we start to create some type of framework around, or some type of exploration in that domain. Normal work, and it's hard work, it's longitudinal long work, it's intentional work. And sometimes we ask guides to come alongside of us, or we look for mentors in front of us to guide us. That's reasonable. That makes a lot of sense to me. But the reason I bring this up is because there's often these we enter into this new space, and then there's this overwhelm of all the things we get to do, have to do, right? That's what it feels like. And it's like, right, it is a lot. And it's an overtime process. We typically pick one of those areas, we focus on it, we grow in some momentum, we clear up the map. Then once that's clear, and once I understand myself in one area, I move on to the next piece and the next piece. And it becomes honestly a labor of love. Typically, a lot of people, when I get to walk alongside them, they fall in love with the process of becoming. And it doesn't become this like, oh man, I have to figure out all these things. It's like, of course I'm figuring them out as I go. It's becoming clearer. I'm becoming more aware of who I am and what my limits are, what my capacities are, what my giftings are. It's a gradual overtime process. And the point of this video being, when you first enter into that season and there's all of these things that need to be addressed somehow, or need it to over time be dealt with, it makes a lot of sense to me that there's overwhelm. And so if you need to hire a guide, hire a guide. Some of us love the process of becoming. I love getting to do that. I love getting to, in my own life, discover those things. And it goes back to these, pivots coming forward professionally over the next couple months. It's, again, the process of becoming. It's not scary. Well, there's fear, but it's not scary, because I understand that's how we go from coming into a space with a not well drawn out map, and then we build and draw the map as we go.